Hello, people. Welcome to another episode of the Snake Room. I'm Liam. Welcome. Plenty of people in here already. Just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Let's get the comments up. Morph Matrix, how you doing, mate? Yeah. Bit more blusher, mate. Bit more blusher. How you doing? Who we got? Ewan. Hello, mate. Clubmoor Reptile fan. Hello. So you've been waiting for a while. J&M Royals, how we doing? Still young. How you doing, mate? Alicia Lawless. Hello. So, if it's your first time here, please give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs down if you want. All the support is welcome. Please subscribe to the channel as well so you never miss a podcast. Also, we have plenty of stickers. If anyone wants stickers, please DM me. Get in touch. I'll get some sent out to you. Don't have to swap them. If you haven't got any stickers, I'll still send some out to you. I'm a nice guy. So the 2000, yeah, I'm wishing a bit. 250 subscriber giveaway. We're still a little way off as yet, but I'm getting more and more stuff together for probably going to do 2 winners for that. So plenty of stuff to give away. So please, like I say, subscribe to the channel. All the love. Also, I want to say a big shout out to Sam for last week. That was a wicked episode. His latest podcast dropped today. So if you haven't done already, give that a listen. I will do that tomorrow myself. Please also follow us on Instagram and Facebook. I don't really pay a lot of attention to Facebook, but you can find out when the next podcasts and stuff are. So if you are on Facebook, give us a follow on Facebook, Twister Royals and the Snake Room podcast. And then obviously Instagram as well. We're on there as well. So today's guest, we'll get him on now, is Andy from Clubmoor Pythons.
What's up?
Hello.
How's it going, everyone? You okay?
Got some fans in here.
It's always nice. It's always good. It might be my mum, but maybe not.
Excellent. Yeah. My mum is staying well away from this. I haven't even told her I'm doing it. So, yeah. I think only my brother knows out of all my family. So we'll leave it at that.
Bad thing.
Yeah. It puts me under a bit of pressure when I know people in here. So
yeah,
just,
definitely.
Oh, God. So less pressure, the better. Less pressure. So also, if anyone in the comments has a question for Andy, please put it in the comments and I'll see if I can get it across to him. So, Clubmoor Pythons, I know you haven't been on Instagram all that long. Am I right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, as a Python page, we haven't been on there probably not even 12 months. I think it was like middle of lockdown when that odd period where you could go to the pub for a couple of weeks before it all closed down for good again. We literally said, right, I have a reptile shop, so we decided we want to differentiate the Royal Pythons because it was becoming quite heavy on our page. We wanted to do a separate page, which was Royal Pythons only. That's my hobby within the business anyway, so it was more, right, we'll do a separate page and we'll just showcase Pythons through that. So that was sort of the idea behind it, really. It's done really, really well.
Okay. So has the shop been on Instagram a lot longer?
So it has, yeah. It's probably 2.5 years, 3 years in June, so almost 3 years now. That goes well. Our Python page is pretty much almost caught up to the shop page, but with the shop page, I don't tend to follow anybody back with that type of stuff. It's just something I've decided to do from the start. We weren't going to follow anyone back, and the Python page was a way of interacting with people as well, because we have customers, friends, all that type of stuff as well who come in, and we deal with a lot of people. So it was more to have a bit more of interaction as well, just away from the shop, rather than just posting, pictures of animals with. Yeah, we'll answer questions, but we don't tend to follow anybody back or like anyone. And we didn't want to upset anybody by not following somebody back from the page, So it was more have a separate page that we can cover all that type of stuff with as well.
Okay. So the shop, how long have you had the shop for?
So I've had it almost 3 years now.
Almost 3 years.
Yeah, so it's going really well. Allowed to obviously be open during what's going on at the moment, which is great for me. I get to come to work every day. Really enjoy coming to work every day. Some people aren't able to do that, and it's tough for them. But I've been quite fortunate with stuff like that. It's been really good. Steep learning curve at times, but I've been into reptiles for like 20 years now, so it's a long time. Started with a leopard gecko and stuff, pretty much as most people probably do with reptiles, really. And then just went from there and just tried to absorb as much information as I could along the years, and an opportunity just came, and it was like, right, okay, yeah, this is the right time to do this. It was something I'd been thinking of maybe 2 or 3 years before that, and the opportunity came, so it was like, right, yeah, let's go for this, and it's worked out well.
So obviously your shop has opening times and whatnot. How often do you have to stay later? Do you put extra hours in behind the scenes? I mean, I guess you have to.
You have to, but then it's not really a chore to do that. Obviously, sometimes it may interfere with family time and stuff, and that's when it becomes difficult. But if it's planned and everything, then it's not too bad. My wife works in NHS, so she does a few late shifts a week and things like that. So I'm able to plan around those, really. So if I stay, then I can stay, and it doesn't really interfere with anything like that. So a lot of Python stuff will happen after hours, really, or before we open, and then opening hours are really dedicated to the shop, and maybe an hour afterwards, to do paperwork and other bits and pieces. But try not to take too much of it home and have a home life, because it can become all encompassing. We know it is as a hobby as well, so that I have that hobby side of it when I'm at home. So I'm on my phone, and sending message and liking pictures. So we try and just have a strict sort of opening hours, and I may answer messages up to a certain time after we go home, say 7, 8 o'clock, and then after that I try to put the phone away and not really get too involved in it, and wind down a little. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So you're open now?
No,
not now, but like you are open to the public.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So how long did you actually have to close during the pandemic?
So we've not had to close at all. So like I say, we've been quite fortunate that because we sell food, we're classed as an essential business. I hate using that term because I don't think a reptile shop is up there with essential businesses, in the true sense of the word. But we sell food for our animals and stuff like that. And obviously all the other consumables, heating, substrates, all these things that need replacing. So we're able to stay open for that. Obviously, we had to adapt a lot at the start. So it was restricting access, not really showing off animals, if at all, and just delivering to people. And you have to adapt a little bit. As things have gone on, those adaptations have become easier because we're right in the community. We're allowing people to come in, obviously socially distanced with face coverings and things like that. But typical when you're in any sort of essential shop environment at the moment, really.
Yeah, absolutely. So what sort of stuff do you have in your shop?
So it is literally reptile specialist shop. So we just do reptiles. So obviously we cater bread and butter, and we have leopard geckos, bearded dragons. What we were just talking off here. Literally, this is the worst time of the year to try and get either of those two animals. There's just a huge lull in March, April time when everything's starting to breed and the season's kicking off again. But we try to cater for every sort of level, really. Beginner all the way through to advanced, and getting hold of stuff this year has been difficult. Brexit has had an impact. The pandemic's had an impact. It's been tough to get hold of animals in quantity and different levels, if you like, as well. So
So a lot of the animals you sell in the shops, do you actually get imported from abroad?
It all depends. So sometimes it may be from Europe. So Europe's a great market for captive bred animals as well. Wild caught shipments still do happen. Very few and far between. And tend to be from trusted sources now, but we try to limit those, to a minimum. Most of what we do now is captive bred, if not all of it. It's few and far between now for wild caught sort of imports and stuff. But that's true across the board,
Okay, roughly, how many different species of snakes do you stock?
So at the moment, we've probably got about 10 or 15 different types, a few colubrids, boas, pythons. Our main thing, obviously, is corns, a few different kings and rat snakes, and then royal pythons. That's one of our top snakes, to be honest, that we sell. Partly because, obviously, it's my hobby as well, so it's really easy to talk about something that you're really interested in, got a passion for, and that rubs off on people. So if people come in a bit open-minded to what type of snake, we have a conversation, usually 2 or 3 visits, and then ends up plumbing for a royal python.
Yeah, I was about to say, if someone comes in with an open mind, they're leaving with a ball python.
100%.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Yeah. I mean, I started with a corn snake, and I think I made a mistake. I should have gone for a ball python straight off.
Yeah.
Because
same with me. Within
Absolutely. An hour, I was sort of like, oh, okay. This just wants to escape when I get it out.
Yeah.
And it just hides up whenever I put it back.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not much of a pet, this.
They're great in terms of like what a beginner wants. They have all the, tick loads of boxes, but yeah, it's not a royal python, and that's its biggest drawback.
Yeah, exactly. So what's sort of, okay, in lizard, sort of what's a beginner sort of standard lizard would you like recommend for a beginner?
For me, Leopard Gecko every day of the week. Something like that, it has so many positives. It's relatively small, super easy to keep in terms of like husbandry requirements, its overall size, it's what it eats, general day-to-day maintenance. They tick literally loads of boxes. Bearded Dragon's brilliant again, but I think we often underestimate what cost and care goes into looking after the beardie, to be honest.
So what's the difference between like care between a gecko and a beardie? Because I started with a bearded dragon. I've never had a gecko, so sort of how are they different?
Quite rudimentally, they're not a huge amount different. So your leopard gecko is what we call a crepuscular animal, so it comes out dusk and dawn. So straight away, that is maybe a negative against that over your bearded dragon. So your beardie's out all day long. You can admire it, whilst you're awake. But your gecko is going to be more active in the evening or early morning. But generally now, it's changed so much. When I started keeping them 20 years ago, it used to be 2-foot cage, heat mat. But now we're actually saying, 3-foot cage, overhead heating, UV. So it's more like a bearded dragon in terms of setup.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're not going to see it as much. Its appetite's a lot less. And obviously it's smaller. But you wouldn't be too far away now if you started a little bit like a bearded dragon. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's not too dissimilar now, because we're sort of changing how we think they should be kept and stuff as well. We're always evolving in terms of husbandry and temperatures and everything else, which is great, because it'd be easy just to go, right, we've got that animal now and we've got it and everything else. We don't really have to do anything else. We've got it, we're keeping it alive, but actually there's so much more to them that we can say, right, do they require UV? Do we need to do this? Nighttime drops rather than, a heat mat providing, 24-hour heat. All these things really are starting to come to the forefront now, and bioactive enclosures are really popular at the moment. But everything comes full circle. So bioactive used to be popular years ago, it died off, and now it's becoming increasingly popular again.
Yeah, so I'm going to tell you why I chose a beardie over a gecko. So I used to go to a pet shop. They had obviously all the enclosures around the side, and then in the middle they had like loads and loads of pre-packed vivs and that all set up, like mounted well high. And the guy was like, "Do you want me to get the gecko out?
Yeah.
My kids with me, and they all want
Yeah.
to see it." And he was then getting it out of the cage, and it jumped off his hand, and it was gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like he basically shooed us out of the shop. He had to close the shop while he looked for the gecko.
Really?
I don't want to think how long it took him. You know, all these setups were like all set up, and yeah, it must have took him hours to find it, I reckon.
It does happen. It does happen.
Yeah.
Generally not with geckos for us, but it does certainly happen. We usually have, you know, when we're showing them off, we'll have a go-to gecko. So one that's been in and handled a little bit. Yeah, we know exactly, you know, but that's experience tells you that as well. Don't get the one that's been in like a day out and, you know, let it jump off and leg it.
So, like, have you had any escapees? Like, you must have had some.
Yeah, I remember coming in one morning, and I thought we'd been robbed and ransacked. Come in one morning, I was like, "What's going on?" The till was on the floor, stock everywhere, and a black-headed python had got out in the night, and I had a wander around the shop. So 6.5 foot python, just like cruising around the shop. Found it in the bin with a big turd next to it.
Oh, excellent!
Yeah.
How long did it take to find?
About 3 minutes. Once I got over the initial shock that we hadn't been robbed and I saw a bit open, it took me about 3 minutes to find it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But then sometimes you come in and, you know, you'll go, "Why is that cage open?" You look in and yeah. Well, snakes are usually fairly easy to find. It's the lizards that are a little bit harder to find.
Right.
I usually find the snakes within an hour.
Yeah.
And I try not to panic. The first time you panic, and then after that you're like, right, it'll turn up, and then you just see it, and you're just like, okay, great.
Yeah, grab it.
Do it dead nonchalant and pop it back.
Yeah. So, snake-wise,
yes.
what would you say would be the hardest, or not the hardest, requires more care than any other?
So what we have in at the moment, probably the most difficult to keep we have in at the moment is GTP. Green tree python. So that's most people's like top end snake, if you like, in terms of you want to keep something like that. It's great, but it's a more steady environment, high humidity levels. They're all captive bred now as well, so it makes it a bit easier. Whenever animals are wild caught, there's always a acclimation period and things like that, and they don't always do well. But captive bred ones now are generally hardier anyway, so it's a bit easier. But that generally is the easiest, the most difficult one that we probably have at the shop. But then there's other snakes, you know, we have a 10-foot retic. That's difficult for another reason, you know, it's not an easy snake to house and to deal with.
Yeah.
But in terms of keeping it, it's not too difficult in terms of husbandry, but actually housing it and looking after it can be difficult. It's eating large rabbits, so it can be a handful. So
do you breed other animals apart from ball pythons in shop?
So in the shop, we this year I think we've done corns, beardies, Yemens, leopard geckos, crested geckos, gargoyle geckos, royals, obviously.
Yeah.
We've got a pair of banded Fiji iguanas that we're hoping to breed this year. The male might just be a little bit too young, though, I think, so it may be next year that we do those. But yeah, we're always looking to add a few different bits and pieces to try and be self-sufficient. It's a hobby as well for me, as much as it's my job and my business. The hobby side of it is breeding things and enjoying that. Still get the same excitement, you know, searching through a lay box to find a pair of leopard gecko eggs. It's amazing. You know, you're still thrilled with that. Then, you know, that's my job every day, coming in and doing stuff like that. It's great. I love it.
Sounds awesome. I mean, a lot of people in the comments will they'd love to do what you do on a day in, day out basis, guaranteed.
Yeah, so I never come to work and or never get up in the morning and think, oh, got to go to work today.
Yeah.
I might get up and go, I've got a long day or a tough day ahead, but I've never at any point go, don't want to go in today, I can't face it. Can I hit that snooze button another few times and forget about it? I come in every day. Yeah, some days are tougher than others, but like I say, if you come in the morning and you're checking through your animals and you see clutch of eggs or something like that, your day's off to a winner straight away, and it's only going to get better from there.
Yeah. So have you considered breeding the green trees? Because I've heard they're quite difficult to breed.
Yeah, so we missed out on a few older animals, but these are CB20 animals, so
Right,
it's going to be like 5 years before,
Yeah.
you know. And I think that's the biggest thing, really. When we're looking at animals to breed and keep, we always want the animal that is 2 to 3 years to get to maturity and be able to breed. I just don't think we're as patient as what we should be sometimes with these animals. We want the results there and then. We see it all the time. People buy baby royals, get into it, and then before they can't wait then for those animals to mature. They go out and buy an adult female and an adult male and throw them together because we can't wait. And it's like that with a lot of species. Anything that takes, I think, more than 3 years to mature is for certainly a more dedicated, more patient, shall we say, not dedicated, more patient keeper.
Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. So one of my dreams is to own a white-lipped python.
Yes.
Would you be able to get hold of one for me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, we were offered some last year, and it was just at the wrong time in terms of. I was looking at a pair, and they were going to be for me, and I was just like, yeah, and it was just the wrong time. But yeah, we can certainly. Certainly get stuff like that.
I always look at them, admire, and go, yeah, I really want one of them.
Yeah.
Not right now, but maybe in a couple of years' time. But I didn't know if I could actually source one into the country because I don't see anyone in the UK with them. Well, who might have them. I mean, everyone seems to go for the green trees if they want something a bit different to a python.
And you've hit the nail on the head. That's exactly why. It's because they're easier to source.
Right. Okay.
So usually they're a lot more abundant. Not a huge number of people working with them. Probably more people working with them in Europe than in the UK. So sourcing them into the UK is going to be even more difficult now because of Brexit as well.
Okay. So you got a few questions.
Okay.
Right. I'll ask these few questions, then we'll get into the ball pythons.
Yeah.
Can I feed my gargoyle bananas?
You can do a small amount, mash them up and stuff like that, and you can do a small amount, yeah. Maybe the diet's a banana-flavoured diet, so you can do a small amount of fruit. You don't want to do any citrus fruit, but you can do like papaya, mango, banana, a few things like that, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Is a 12 by 12 by 18 the right size for a crested gecko?
For a young crested, yeah, up to a juvenile, and then an adult wants to be 18, 24 at least.
Okay. There was one other. Where was it? This was actually going to be one of my questions as well.
Okay.
I was going to ask, do you do YouTube at the minute? So I'm guessing you don't.
No, we don't. But actually, someone came in and we spoke briefly about it before, didn't we? Before we came on, like a customer came in the other day, and because obviously we've been doing a few live videos over the last few weeks, it's been really good. It's been good to get feedback on what people want to see and do and everything like that. And someone actually made a comment and asked, when are we going to go onto YouTube? Because my son, daughter doesn't have Instagram because of their age. Yeah. And actually that made me think that we can just upload these videos, or we can do a topic and edit it at my leisure and put it out there. So it's definitely something we're going to be looking at. We may even put our current lives on there so that it reaches another audience, of a different age, if you like. So, but yeah, something we're definitely thinking of for the future.
Okay. One more. Ever get any lily white crested gecko females?
Quite specific. Lily white, we can get hold of them, but the thing as well, sometimes you have to know your customer base or what like that. So I think someone recently had one for sale, a lily white, and it was in a shop, and it was £1,000, just shy of £1,000.
Wow.
So yeah, so obviously that represents a big investment on my part as well. Jeez, to get that animal in. and that was an unsexed animal or a male. So
Right.
females, again, lily whites used to command huge price tag, still do, but yeah.
Are geckos hard to sex? Because I know I bought 2 beardies very young together, and they both turned out to be male.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if
Geckos, leopard geckos in particular, can be really easy to sex. Once they're probably, you can do it from about 4 months old. 6 months, you will definitely know whether it's a boy or a girl because of the hemipenal bulges just right next to the base of the tail. They're really obvious. Same with the Cresties and stuff as well. A lot of people get a jeweler's loupe, the little magnifying loupe.
Yeah.
And look for paws on young Cresties and can sex them quite young. So you can do it, and you can do it really reliably. But things like a leopard gecko, once it's 6 months old, you only have to look at the base of its tail, and it's really obvious.
Is it the same with the beardies as well? Because
the beardies is more internal in the tail.
Right.
So what you can do it again, at 6 months old. But a beardie, you're looking for more femoral paws as well as hemipenal bulges, because sometimes the bulges on a younger animal aren't as pronounced. So you're looking for femoral paws along the thighs as well, really. Nice big paws and bulges would indicate a male. Sometimes you might be unsure with the bulges and say, well, I think it might be a male. But then, you're looking for the paws as well then, just to back that up, really.
Okay. So the ball pythons, how long have you been keeping ball pythons yourself?
So a while, really. Ball pythons, probably 8-9 years. Breeding them. We're on to our 3rd season now of breeding them. So in number as well. So I've always dabbled with them a little bit and had a few little bits and pieces, and then had to get rid of my collection, and then the collection sort of then grew up, and different times in your life, you're in it and you're really in it, and then sometimes you come away and you might just keep a few things. So over the years I've kept them for a while with a number of other things, but really probably the last 3 years with the shop is when it's really taken on to a new level. So let me just try and get rid of that thing again. Sorry. I just started playing because I took the earphones out. So 3 years is probably when we've really gone for it and said, right, okay, rather than just keep a small collection, we're really going to push it now and see where we can take it. This year in particular, the last 12 months is when we've really invested a lot in improving our stock and the number of animals that we have as well. So it's been interesting.
Okay. So you said you first started off with reptiles. Did you say about 20 years ago?
Yeah. Not that you look at, guess it from. But yeah, I'm 42. So when I was about 22, started with reptiles. Leopard gecko. Done about 12 months research. Nagged. My wife, who was then my girlfriend at the time. And for my birthday, she's like, "Here's some money. Go and get your Telford gecko and shut up about it. You're doing me head in."
Okay.
Let that be the end of it. Go and get your gecko and shut up. So I got it, and then that was it. Then it was like, okay, well, I want another one now, and I want to breed these, and I want to have a look at it. Oh, and let's get some snakes, and let's have a look at this, and let's pick up some of those. And yeah, before we know it, we had a lizard room, which was like the spare room in the house. Then my second daughter came along, and they were sharing a room for a while, and it was like, do you not think our daughters should have their own bedrooms now? And it was like, well, what will happen to my lizard room then? So it was one of those. And then eventually, yes, the girls got their own room. It was still called the lizard room for about 3 years after she moved in, but
Okay. So you got the gecko.
Yeah.
Then you got another one?
Yeah, so that's it. So I remember going to, I just started reading online and stuff. So it used to be a lot of forums back then rather than Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. So it was going to shows and picking up some geckos at the shows, picking up a pair and being thrilled that I'd got a pair of geckos, coming home, raising them up, putting them in together, being absolutely distraught at seeing them breed for the first time, thinking that the male was, bashing up the female and stuff like that. It was pretty grim watching that the first time. But then, from that, it just, okay, what other geckos can I have? What other snakes can I get? What other reptiles are out there? And when you're on the forums, obviously, it's a lot of hobbyist people. So it is beginner species or intermediate species. So leopard geckos, if you've been to any of the Doncaster shows, you will see sort of the standard fare there. It's breeder stuff, people that you can breed it at home. And then obviously finding that 10% that's a bit more eclectic, if you like, is difficult. So it was certainly a lot of bread and butter stuff for me in the early days, definitely.
So did you get any eggs from them first two you had? Or
so with the leopard geckos, it was really, really great to get them, bred them. Leopard geckos are really fairly easy to breed. As long as you've got a boy and girl and introduce them, you'll get eggs. But obviously incubation and raising the babies is on us then as well, isn't it? So they'll do their part quite comfortably, and then it's down to us then for the rest. But there's plenty of people before me who've honed that information to be able to say, right, this is how you do it, rather than trying to figure it out on your own, which is great.
What's the average clutch for geckos? Two eggs,
yeah. Okay. But the beauty is they will do multiple clutches. So we've started breeding our geckos probably about 5 weeks ago, and we're just seeing our second clutches coming out of them now. They can retain sperm as well, so you breed them and then they will go on through the season. You can introduce the male after sort of the third or fourth clutch, if you like, and top them up a little bit and maybe getting an additional 1 or 2 clutches at the end. But you're looking at sort of 4 to 5 clutches, 6 clutches. Some females will do 10, but that's a lot. It really takes a toll on their animal, and both males and females, or females in particular, look rubbish come the end of the season, like really, really rubbish, haggard, drained. So just get them well fed again and let them recuperate, definitely. But they have definitely a more dedicated breeding season. So it's sort of January, February through till like May time for breeding, and then you'll get eggs sort of up to September-ish.
Okay.
So
So you got them two, and then it sort of snowballed from there. What was the first snake you got?
Corn snake, and I was petrified of it.
Me too.
Don't know why. It took me about 2 weeks to pluck up the courage to pick it up because it kept on shooting around the cage. Literally looking back now, I'm like, what am I doing? But then I was like, right, okay, this snake's not for me. So I spoke to the shop I got it from, and they were like, we've got Royal Python, and pretty much do what I do now. Got a Royal Python out, show it. And I was like, that's more the snake for me. Nice and comfortable to handle and stuff. And then that was it. Then it just literally took off from there, and it was like, okay. And then Googling, because the internet was relatively new when I was younger, starting off. So it was forums. I remember, Crystal Palace Reptiles website, looking on there and them having banana royals for 25 grand.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's mad.
All sorts of crazy stuff, and just thinking, wow, this is insane. I want to be doing this. I think bumblebees were still about £900 at the time.
Yeah.
So
that's mad.
Yeah. And I was just like, right, I want to be doing this. And then got a few little things, but never really pushed the boat out and got the morph until sort of the second time round, really, and then just started picking up a few things, and then some Woma pythons, actual Woma pythons, not royal Womas, but actual Woma pythons and stuff like that. And just kept a few things and bred a few things, but when we got the shop, that's when it really went to another 3 or 4 levels, really.
Yeah. So, like you say, I was scared of my corn snake. So what I used to do, I used to lift the lid off the tub, and let the head crawl out first, off, and then I'd grab it, like
in the middle of the body, and then be like so proud that you've done it.
Yeah.
Know that feeling.
So your first ball python was a normal.
Yeah, normal, royal, and then the same shop. Because I was literally trying to consume every bit of information then about. That was the way I did it back then, and still do it now. I love books. I love having the book and having the thing to read. I remember when I first got my Leopard Gecko, it was Leopard Gecko book by Philip DeVos Jolly, the complete guide to leopard geckos. Must have read it about 10 times, quick succession, just reading it and having that book, the book by The Complete Royal Python by Kevin McCurley.
Yeah.
Amazing book. But all that information we sort of take for granted now. But at some point, he's figured that out for us, and laid the path for us to be able to keep these amazing animals, But yeah, two normals. Then I got offered a pair. So we sort of had a little bit of success. We had breeds, but we never managed to get eggs from them. And then that's when I suddenly come away from reptile keeping for about a year or so. I think I just kept like one gecko. I got rid of everything else, just kept one gecko, and then gradually came back into it. But I was always still active on forums, still reading everything we could, planning, what I was going to get next and things like that. So yeah.
I've still got a list over there.
Yeah. I'm the same.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it changes daily with the amount of videos I watch as well.
Absolutely.
You see people dropping certain things, you think, right, okay, well, I need Blackhead now. Fuck's sake!
Yeah, and that's it. Yeah, you'll be happily, plodding along with your plans, and you'll be like, right, got all the genes I'm happy to work with at the moment, and that's the plan for that, and that's the plan for that. And then you'll see someone you follow, and they'll drop a snake, and you'll be like, oh shit, I need that now.
Yeah.
And I've been really guilty of that this year. Going, well, I want that now. Why can't I have that? How much is that, please?
Yeah. I've got an empty.
Yeah. Honestly, it's just, we all know how it goes when we keep Royal Pythons. It becomes an obsession really quickly, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. So when you got back into it, what was the first morph you picked up?
Probably a Bumblebee, because that was that was the sort of. I remember we went to a show in Kempton Park. There wasn't many, but they had an IHS show in Kempton Park. We travelled down there. Yeah, literally one. I think there was maybe two.
Yeah.
They had one show, and we were there queuing up for ages to get in. I'm there with the wife and the kids, and they're all looking at me going, "Are we really queuing up to go in here?" And I remember seeing a guy selling the Bumblebee in the car park. And literally just walked up, met someone, handed over a big wad of cash, and everyone was looking because he had a Bumblebee in a rub, and it was like a really well-grown on animal. And everyone was just like, look at him, he's got a Bumblebee, look at him, he's got a, and from then it was like, right, I have to have one of them. And that's how it goes. And then from there, it's like, okay, Pieds, gets everyone's attention, I think, don't they? And it's like, okay.
Yeah. You can't go wrong with Pieds, even if you just want to, breed them.
Yeah.
You might hold one or two back, but you're guaranteed to pass them. You're not going to be stuck with a Pied for too long if you want to get rid of it. Let's face it.
No, absolutely not. So for me this year, that's what I've done. I've gotten a few Pieds to add to my collection. So probably got about 4 that we'll be able to breed this year coming, not this season, but this year coming, 4 or 5, and then we've got another 10 that should hopefully go the year after.
Okay.
So yeah, we've tried to add a few Pieds, a few different bits and pieces. So
do you still own the original Bumblebee?
No, I don't think I think I ended up selling that one on to a friend, and it was just, I think something else had maybe taken my attention at the time.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, it was, something else had probably gone, right, I want that instead now. And that's probably how I was in the early days as well, like trading a few bits and pieces to get another animal. And,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Was it male or female?
It was a male.
Did you breed it?
Literally, no, never bred it. Never bred it. I didn't breed a great deal in the early days other than geckos. It's only really, I say, the last sort of 3 years that we've really taken our Royal Python breeding seriously and started doing it. We had, I think, 10 clutches first season, 23 last season, and I think there's about 50 females we're pairing this season. So we're hopefully going to beat the 25 from last year.
So you said you started breeding 3 years ago? Is that right?
Yeah, so this is our third season now.
How many clutches did you do in your first season?
10.
10 in your first season?
Yeah, 10 in the first season. Yeah.
Okay. That's good going. That's good going.
It was a learning curve. It was a real learning curve, definitely. And then 25 in the second season.
Wow. How many are you going for this year?
Say again, sorry.
How many are you going for this year?
50. Well, we're breeding 50 females, so I'll be happy. I'll be happy with 30 clutches. This year, I'm doing a lot more specific breeding. So I'm looking at making double het, so double het clown pie, double het hypo clowns. We're going to be doing hurricane het exanthic, hurricane het ghost. What else have we got? They're the main projects that we're looking at, and then hurricane into a few things to produce a few hurricanes for us.
Right.
And then next year so there's a lot of holdbacks this year, and then we're still obviously breeding stuff for the shop. We're still going to be making bells and 2-3 gene animal combos that will be surplus, really, that'll go to the shop and stuff. Obviously there'll be some that go through the Python page as well, hoping most of them do, but yeah, so there'll be plenty of holdbacks. I think probably 10 15 clutches are very specific, literally like one male. Last year I was like, you can go in and a different male go in like a month after or whatever. And we just wanted eggs. We just wanted clutches. We had a bamboo male last year that literally felt like he sired every single clutch for us. Like double-sired clutches and everything from him. He was phenomenal. So but this year we're being very, very specific. What
was the pairing on your first ever clutch?
Oh, I can't even remember now, because I think we'd done it. It was probably our bamboo male. I think bamboo was our first one, and it's probably to a normal, to be honest, because we still have about 15 normal females.
Okay, always
so
handy.
Yeah, for us, like say with the shop, it's a case of one 500-pound animal or 10 normals. We'll always send 10 normals before that 500-pound animal. So it's about having that availability of animals. I mean, when lockdown 1 hit, literally for the first 3 months, we didn't have any normal Royal Pythons to sell at all. Not one. We had to wait until our eggs were on the ground and the babies were big enough to be able to get animals for sale again, and that was tough.
Yeah. What in your shop? What's the most you'd advertise ball python for?
The most?
I'm guessing you wouldn't put would you put the high end stuff in the shop?
So we'll have 1 or 2 of those available in terms of showing them off, because I'm quite open and happy to show animals off. If people have come in the shop, they'll know that I'm like a big kid. I like having a flex and showing off the animals that we have and stuff like this and say, look, isn't this cool? So, we sold a few pieds, 300-400 pounds. We've done a hurricane last year. I think that was about 800 quid, something like that, hurricane combo. And that's been the biggest through the shop. Everything else is probably sub 200 pounds, but constant. So that was the idea behind the Python page as well, to obviously, yourself, once you have a dedicated Royal Python page or whatever, that person's coming specifically for that animal. So your market is a lot wider, if you like, and there's a lot more people specifically looking for a Royal Python, not necessarily their first snake. So that was the idea behind it as well.
Yeah. I guess with a shop, some breeders, when they catch out normals, they're like a little bit disappointed. But at a shop, I mean, I guess you have no problem getting rid of them at all.
Absolutely not. That's why I keep 15 adult female normals. It's fundamental to what we're doing, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
And not only that, we can break down a really nice animal to just have the single gene. So say, for example, we've got a nice bamboo combo male or a hurricane combo male. We can put that animal to a normal, get hurricane combos, hurricane in its single form, bamboo in its single form. And actually that's an entry for some people into that gene as well, rather than going for the 2 or 3 gene animal straight off. You make it achievable for people to get into that gene straight away.
Yeah. absolutely. Yeah, it's a good, absolutely good thing.
Yeah, definitely.
So, Raw Morphs has asked what your most anticipated clutch is this year.
So I know Dave. So again, I really don't know. I really don't know. Probably a lot of the double het stuff is what I'm after, but they're all just going to be normal double hets. So there might be the odd pastel double het in there or something like that. Probably the one I am most excited about though is I've literally just today, I posted it up before. We've got a build from a nice pewter female that's been bred to Orange Dream Enchi Pastel Het Puzzle male. So obviously we're only going to get POS hets, but I have a couple of 100% het puzzle females growing on as well. So hopefully by the time they're to size, I may have produced a visual male to hopefully put back to them.
Yeah,
3-4 year plan, whatever it's going to be, but I think doing that now and producing some POS hets for yourself to hold back, especially with a gene like that, is key, really.
Yeah, absolutely. When you paused when I asked that question, I thought it might be a secret or something.
So no, most people who come here, I can't hold my own piss when it comes to stuff like this sometimes. And I tell everybody, because I'm so excited about the hobby side of it as well. So I'll be like, guess what I'm pairing? And, I should definitely keep some. I've got 2 animals there that 1 or 2 people know about that I'm keeping a secret. But other than that, I'm quite happy to say, yeah, look at this. But there's 2 at the moment that I'm really, super excited for that. Totally under wraps to hopefully show what they can do next year.
Okay. Has that got anything to do with it?
Say again?
Is this
no? So I'm quite open about that one. So so Miguel posted up a picture of bamboo spot nose red stripe yellow belly clown male.
Right.
Love bamboo clowns. I know they're not everyone's cup of tea. With the really virtually no pattern with just basically a stripe down the back. But I really like that in a clown. And then when I seen this clown with more pattern, I just messaged the guy straight away. I was like, Miguel, look, what's happening with this animal? Is it for sale? Can we sort something out? Are you shipping to the UK anytime soon? And he was like, yeah, I'm actually shipping at the end of this month. He is available. Told me the price. I was like, right, I've got to have this animal. So I was like, right, okay, here's me money. And then Scott Wilkinson is the guy over in the UK who does all the collecting and everything else and then sending it out to us. Yeah. So he is going to be a big part of next year in terms of creating some nice hets. I've got a few nice het clown females. I'm really light on visual clown females. Got a few growing up, but no real stuff that I can guarantee for next year. So obviously if I had visual clown adults, then we'd be guaranteeing, bamboo clowns next year. But as it is, we're 50% chances and stuff like that. So hopefully we may be able to get an adult clown or 2. That's what I'm totally buying for, really. But I know that is going to be nigh on impossible or heavy on the wallet.
So how much is it to get something shipped from the state?
So with Miguel, he just said, right, this is the cost shipped over to England. So there was no, right, the snake's this and it's an additional this much. It was like, right, this is what it is shipped over to our man in the UK. And then from that, it was 250 quid. So that was import fees and delivery to my door.
Okay, that's
and that was next day delivery as well. So because of the weather we had, the animal arrived. Scott had it for a couple of weeks, looked after it for me, and then when the weather was able to allow for overnight shipping, he shipped it to me. And I think got picked up about 5 o'clock in the evening and arrived to me 7:30 the next morning. So
that's pretty good.
Pretty good turnaround, really. So in terms of the value of the snake and stuff, 250 quid to get it. Someone to go and pick it up from Heathrow, take it to their place, look after it, and then send me it was pretty perfectly fine. Really, I was comfortable with that.
Yeah, you can't knock that. You can't knock
No,
it.
definitely not. Definitely not. I couldn't have gone to Heathrow and done it, and obviously I haven't got CITES and import permits and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. So Royal Moss, Chernoff, they know what they are.
He thinks he does, but
He thinks he's. If you want, just drop it in the comments.
he thinks he does, but I even have some secrets from Dave.
Okay. So, do you keep your pythons at all your royal pythons at the shop?
Yeah.
Or do you have them at home as well?
So I try not to have it. So it used to be at home, but then it's like a busman's holiday. As much as it's my hobby and stuff, I do want time away from it as well at times, And then if I ever want to go on holiday, which not happened in the last 3 years, it means then someone coming and maintaining a large collection of royal pythons separate to this. So actually, it makes sense to have it. Sorry, fly. It makes sense to have it here so that if I am ever away, it becomes part of the routines for the trip. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. There was a brief period where I thought, right, having seen Gav's sort of set up, I was like, I want something like that at home, as we all do. Like, okay, yeah, great. We'll have a little lobby and we'll do this. And then I sat down and thought about it for a few minutes and was like, no, I'd never be able to take a holiday if that was the case. I wouldn't be able to do it, and I'd be in there every night, which would be great for me. I'd love it, but actually, it's not. When you have a family, it's not great, really.
No, I know the family can get involved every so often, but then
absolutely. So my wife and kids. I mean, I have 2 teenage daughters. They come and help in the shop. My wife works full time as well as doing the degree, so she comes and helps when she can. But she really adds all the finesse touch. So we started doing things like T-shirts, and she's like, "Right, you can't sell them until they're packaged nicely." And I was ready to just go, "Do you want this one? Okay, I'll take this off and give you it now." But she's done them all in little nice things, just all the finesse touches to everything, really. She does all that. So they're all invested, definitely.
I'll give it up to her. I saw that post. I was like, do you know what? That looks really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, fair play to the.
And the cool posts are always here. They're never me. Mine are always like snake in a hand or something like that. Yeah, the cool stuff definitely.
Yeah. So what was I going to say? Do you So I saw, like you said, you've picked up some puzzle pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Is going forward? Is that your main project?
I'd like to say yeah, but probably not. Without sounding bad, and I don't want this to sound like I'm really like. I often forget that I have them because, that sounds really blasé and a bit like. But yeah, I often forget I have those ones, and it's more the pies and the clowns, like it is for everybody at the moment. You can't help but be really invested in those projects when you see people like Justin just dropping these insane animals, and you're like, right, okay. But they're the ones that a lot of people are working with, so you are going to see some of them. Definitely going to be a big part. And I think once I have those females up to size, I try, and my mantra is put it in a tub and forget about it until it's ready to be used. Bring it out and have a little flex on Instagram or whatever and show it off every now and then. But that's all you can do with it until it's ready to go. We picked up some nice animals. From Paul, we've picked up Cyprus leopard firefly clown female, amazing looking animal. Yeah, stunning animal. But actually, it's a female, so it's going to just sit there and look pretty for a couple of years until we really get that animal's worth. So we've got a few things like that. Picked up nice clown combos from Gav at Balls to You. Just trying to pick up nice animals with the right genes from the right people, if you like.
Yeah, absolutely. How many ball pythons roughly have you got?
180-ish, maybe pushing 2.
Okay.
Yeah. So
only getting more as well. Only getting bigger.
Yeah, I think for me as well, we're trying to or how I will do it going forwards, we'll do sort of 2 distinct collections. So we'll do Clubmoor Pythons, and then we'll do, Clubmoor Reptiles, if you like, where it'll be the normal females and a couple of double geners and some nice males that will do those. And then we will probably, once all our Clubmoor Pythons livestock, if you like, all our current stuff we've got raised on as to size, that will become the Clubmoor Pythons thing that we do,
Yeah.
And it'll just hopefully be easier to manage.
Yeah. So you got 180 to 200. Have you got room to expand more?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Not a huge amount, but we have a little. But there's always up, isn't there?
Yeah. It's
like the racks are probably 10 high at the moment, but we can go. I can get 15 high on the FB40s and still get a tub out. So if you want to go that high, but
yeah. What racks are you using?
So I'm using a mixture at the moment. So we're using Herp Exotics. We've got B70s and 33 litres in those. And then we've got LP, we've got FB40s, B18s, B35s, and B15s.
Okay. Yeah.
So we may end up skipping the V18 and go with 15 straight to 35s, I think.
Okay. I think Miguel does that, does he?
I'm not sure. I think so. The only thing I don't like about the 35, it's just an odd shaped tub.
Yes.
It's almost a square. And that's okay. But
certainly agree.
Yeah, I prefer it to be a little narrow and a little deeper, but it's not the end of the world. And what I've realised this year is you can probably do without the V18. You can just go straight into the 35.
Yeah.
But then you probably could. I mean, I've got a 300 gram female scaleless head in a V70. So, and she eats like a trooper. So sometimes you can. It's just about that settling in period,
Yeah.
So I think she went in there at 100 grams. I just popped her in, and then she's phenomenally well. So
has she got a hide in there or anything?
No, literally a tub as is. Yeah, I set up like an adult, and just take my hands off when it's feeding day.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But I do like, and I think we'll probably end up going more LP. But Brexit's made it difficult to get in terms of just paperwork. Dealing with Jesper's still the same, it's still super easy that end. There's no VAT to pay their end anymore.
Yeah.
But you just pay, the cost minus VAT
to get it in the country.
Get it into the country, and then our guys add the VAT this side and stuff. And then just take it from there. Really, doesn't cost any more. Maybe the same, maybe a little bit extra, but for a quality rack, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. Evening, Gav. How you doing?
What's happening, Gav?
In the house. So you're working with Puzzle. What would be the next big gene you'd like to add to your collection? Something you haven't got at the moment.
That might give something away.
There's loads, but yeah.
To be honest, I've looked at Sunset a little bit.
Yeah.
Really like the way it looks as a young baby and stuff. But whenever you see them breeding, other than the one I've seen today, actually, Gav's probably the post today breeding to an Ultramel. That actually was nice and orange.
Yeah.
Typically, when I've seen Sunsets breeding, they're quite brown, so that's put me off. But then that's true with a lot of morphs, isn't it? And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get to the point of having nice, bright adult animals.
Yep.
So that was the first time I think I'd seen an Ultramel. Sorry, not an Ultramel. A Sunset breeder that was orange. That would look like it was. It does when they come out. So I toyed with that, but then I was looking at Stranger. I'm not going to lie, but then I watched a certain video when it was sort of, isn't that just mahogany? And that sort of put me off a little bit. So I think that will prove out to be a lilac. I don't think it's the same, but it will be a lilac, I think, as a lot of genes are now. So I think I went for an extra mahogany male instead.
Right. Yeah.
which was far cheaper.
Far cheaper.
Like, yeah, like 10 times cheaper, I think it was, or well, 100 times cheaper. So
Probably.
yeah, I think it was. I think it was 100 times cheaper than getting a stranger.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a big difference, isn't it? Well, other than that, I don't know. Confusion maybe. Well,
Yeah.
confusion
There's
definitely. I think.
so many you can choose.
Yeah.
Like you say, I guess most people have a list, and it just gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
This list that you have.
Absolutely.
I mean, the more genes come out,
Yeah.
So many people are working with Dinker projects as well that could turn out to be something.
Well, we've got that as well. So we've got a weird female. I was like, is she pastel? Is she fire? Someone saying, oh, she looks a bit desert ghost. And we weren't convinced of what she was. We bred her. We bred her to a banana black pastel vanilla. Really nice male that threw out some fantastic babies for us last season. And we were able to get a nice pastel, which is a phenomenal looking pastel that almost looks firefly, but it's just a pastel. Then we hatched a pewter with that pastel in as well. So we've kept that whole clutch back to hopefully see if we can put one back to mum and see what pops out. Might just be a really nice pastel, but until we know, we're just keeping it back and seeing what happens. It's always fun to stumble across little things like that, and that animal looks a bit different. It doesn't have to be the next big expensive gene. It can be, wow, that animal looks cool, let's work with that. It doesn't have to have a massive price tag attached to it. I think sometimes we get caught up in that, don't we, in terms of the must-have snake and the must-have gene. You just look at what Justin does. He brought out champagne combos last month or whatever it was and said, look at these champagnes, and everyone had a scramble to then try and find champagnes again, and they probably only just finished getting rid of them and now they want them back. So I think these genes, we've got to be mindful and keep hold of them. If you enjoy working with it, keep on working with it.
Yeah, I know what you say. I've had a champagne female up for sale for quite a while, and around about last month it sold very quickly. So
and that's great. So obviously, if you don't want that animal anymore, but it's great for hobbyists because these guys set trends, and they set trends as well. It benefits everyone in the hobby if you've got that gene, obviously. But it's the way it goes sometimes. You've just got to keep on plugging away, doing what you do, and enjoy what you're enjoying, and making nice snakes. That's sort of what we say all the time in here. It's a nice snake's a nice snake, whether it's a normal or whether it's a bloody confusion, whatever clown combo. Then they still have a value. They're still to be appreciated, in terms of their aesthetics, definitely. Because that's all we're doing it for, isn't it? The look of the animal.
Yep. If you like the look of it, then you carry on with your own project.
Definitely.
I'm breeding animals to please myself. Like, I'm not doing it for anyone else. So if I like the look of it, just as I was speaking to someone today, I like genetic stripe, and some people don't, but I like it, so I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna take it places, and then if I've got a load in my rack, all I need is Justin to drop a video, and then bombs away.
This is it, and I think Justin gives a little precursor to what's coming. So if you watch one of his videos, and then 9-10 months later, so I think he did it with Hurricane, where he was like, "Oh, look at this Hurricane male het clown we've got growing up," and then I think it was about 10 months later, it was like, "Look at these Hurricane clown combos that we've got." So whenever he drops a little video and just shows off one animal, you can bet that 10 months later, that animal is going to come with an array of different combos and stuff. So then's the time to watch, not as he's showing you the full array. It's when he shows you the first one 10 months earlier. That's when to pay attention, definitely.
So you said you've got 50 breeder females ready to go this season?
I think we've got about 65 that are breeder ready, but we're probably going to do 50 because I haven't got enough males.
Right. Okay.
So I've always bought into the mantra of buy female, buy female, buy female, buy. Done that, and then I'm like, okay, Where's the males at? I
Yeah.
haven't got enough. So last year we had enough males. This year we haven't. We haven't got enough males to the size that I'd like to be able to be consistent breeders. So we've got a few young males that have stepped up and done 1 or 2 clutches, or hopefully do 1 or 2 clutches. But to be consistent breeders, I felt that they needed to be bigger.
Yeah. Have you got any eggs on the ground yet, or ovulations? Or?
So I've had ovulation from an angry ball to an angry ball. So that's a Angolan Royal Python hybrid.
Right, okay.
So we're literally pre-lay shed was the 16th of February. So what are we on now? The 10th or 11th? So
yeah, 10th, yeah.
Any day, within the next few days, we're going to have eggs from here. Then we've had ovulation from albino female, build from a pastel calico, build from a pewter, and I think 3 other builds as well. And then hopefully they'll start kicking in. Then it wasn't until the 26th of April last year that we had our first clutch.
Okay.
So I think we might go a couple of days before that this year, but I don't think we'll be, too like next week or anything. It's going to be before we start hitting royals. The albinos just not even done their pre-lay shed yet, so still might take us to mid-April.
Do you breed to the season, or do you go all year
round?
I
tend to start, but I think this year I'm going to maybe push it a little bit and see, because some of these males who are younger, they're feeding fantastically well still. Pulled a couple of them because obviously they just don't look interested because they're just not ready. So I'm going to feed them up and then may start again in maybe September with them. But I do tend to start pairing end of November, but it felt like this year we'd only just finished getting eggs and I was introducing or thinking about introducing animals again. And I sort of put it off for about 4 to 6 weeks, chatted to a few friends, and I just didn't feel like it was the right time. I felt it was too soon. So I felt I'm a little bit behind because of that. Because once I did start to do a few pairings and we had some hookups, that was it. Then we really started to take off. But I just felt like we'd only just finished and we were getting ready to pair again. But I had to look back through my records and then seeing it was like 7 months, 8 months since our last egg. So it's time to start.
I mean, I got a female late in the season last year. And I thought, she's up to weight. What's the harm in putting something in with her?
Yeah.
And it kind of worked. So I've already got eggs on the ground. I think they hatch in like 3 weeks' time. So that was very, very early. So I wouldn't be afraid to do that again.
No, I don't think we should be now. I think absolutely. I think the defined season, the more we get into it, and every year, it'll be less defined.
Yeah. Do you adjust your temperatures or anything? No.
I just find that the barometric pressure plays a massive part. The ambient temperature generally cooler anyway overnight. So I've never felt the need to do that. I've always just thought, no, I'll just keep as is with stuff like that and don't really want to adjust that type of stuff, really. I don't like playing around too much.
Yeah.
So we just tend to, we feed like crazy, sort of, backup males saying that for years. Thanks, that, Gav.
Yeah.
But we start feeding really intensely November, December, January, twice a week, and then obviously if they're in with a male, we skip that, and then when they come out, they get a meal and stuff. But now we've started slowing down a little bit. Some females are still ravenous, still take off my face, but we are slowing down a little bit. But we're getting more consistent, regular locks now as well, which is great. So I just think my season will be a little bit behind last year, and that's because I bottled it a little bit and sort of said, no, it's too early, even though it was the right time to pair. So we'll see.
So when did you start this year pairing?
End of November, beginning of December. Can't remember the exact date. Right. Might have been like the 28th maybe of November, I think it was. Okay. I was going to start at the end of October, and then I decided November.
Hold off a bit.
Because it just felt too soon.
Yeah. So what was the other question? Going back to the racks quickly, what substrate do you use in your racks?
So I use hair husk. So I've never had an issue with it. We sell it in the shop. I know obviously there's always a debate about substrate and hair husk and repti chip and all these other substrates. I've gone round in circles with substrate. Husk, aspen, orchid, bark, lignocell.
Yeah.
I just find that coconut bedding gives me the best fit for me. I have a mate who's commented, he changes it every 5 minutes. Like, lignocell looks fantastic when you first done it and the snake takes a great photo. You know, husk stains animals sometimes. There's pluses and minuses to it all, but I use coconut bedding, so in particular hair husk at the moment. But I know I don't like to preach to people, say you have to use this or you have to use that, because it's the biggest debate in reptile keeping, full stop, never mind Royal Python keeping, is substrate. So I just say, look, this is good, this is the benefit, this is the drawback, this is the benefit, this is the drawback of all the ones, and you can make your choice. This is what I use and this is what I find. Other than that, you can use what you like.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same as you. I've been around the houses with the substrates, and I'm still, you know, if someone came out with something else, then I'd probably try that as well, because
we all
I'm not
absolutely all would. Let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah,
we'd go, right, let's get this new product in, let's give it a go, because that's what we do.
Yeah. Okay, Toby's Morph Matrix got a question. What's your plans for Hurricane?
So to be honest, this year he's going to Exanthic female and Ghost female. Last year we paired him to Ghost female. We managed to hit a 1.3 Hurricane Het Ghost, but they died prior to their first shed. I was absolutely gutted. Yeah, absolutely gutted on those. So we're doing the repeat pairing again. We hatched a lovely Hurricane Enchi out this year, so he's getting ready to fed up for next season. Because the only issue I have with the Hurricane that I have, the male, he's a Hurricane lesser, so it limits my options a little bit in terms of bell complex animals and stuff. So we're just trying to get some nice combos out there. Enchi always works well, so it'll be seeing an Enchi female again. We were lucky enough last year to hit only one clutch really, but we had a Enchi, not an Enchi, sorry, a lesser pastel Hurricane female that we kept back. She had a bit of a cleft lip, just on the lip, nothing on the palate, just a little lip deformity, and literally she is a monster eater. She just doesn't stop eating. She refused one meal and that's it, and that was 3 weeks ago. First meal she's refused in a year, and she just she's phenomenal. So hopefully we'll do super Hurricanes, but I haven't really got a plan for it. We'll probably follow the same route everyone else does, put it into clown and stuff like that. But I think for me, it's going to be stronger in just adding it to other codoms rather than, putting it into clown. I think there's better combos in clown. I think Justin done a video where he cut some, and it was one of the first videos where Justin was quite indecisive about what was in that combo. It might be a Hurricane combo, it might be a low example. And I think that's the issue that you have sometimes, is Hurricane's great when it's a great example, but then sometimes it has, an okay example where you're like, I've got one male at the moment where can't decide whether it's Hurricane or not. And I'm like, can someone tell me whether this is Hurricane? And everyone's on the fence. And I'd rather keep it than sell it as a normal.
Did you say it as a male?
Yeah.
At least you haven't got to wait as long to prove
and this is it. So it'll just go to a normal female.
Yeah.
And if I get normals, great. I'll happily take them. But if I strike on a Hurricane, then great as well. It's proved them out, hasn't it? And then someone will benefit from an adult male Hurricane. So.
Yeah. So just going back to the was it the whole clutch that died before the first shed? Or?
Yeah. So the non-Hurricane animals were actually okay. I'm not saying there's an issue with Hurricane. I think I was just unlucky with those animals, because I hatched out a Ghost and can't remember what else. Sorry, no, I didn't hatch out a Ghost. They were all Het Ghost. But all the others were fine. The others were normals, but those were 3 really, really nice animals.
Wow, that's kicking
Yeah,
the nuts, isn't it? Yeah.
it was an absolute kick in the nuts. It really, really was. Like, it was probably the lowest point of the season for me, where you like
Wow.
come in one day, you're checking on your animals, you're like, yeah, look at it, and you just like
Were,
kicks you
were
in the
they
nuts for the
were they all dead on the same day?
no, like one on one day and then two the next day.
Wow.
Yeah, literally. These are the bits of the hobby that people don't always sort of show and talk about.
Yeah.
You know, it happens. You deal with animals. I mean, this year we hatched out a banana lesser with one eye.
Right. Okay.
Absolutely phenomenal animal. Took a little bit to get going, but
Yeah.
he's an amazing eater. And literally, we have a list as long as my arm of people wanting to adopt that animal.
Yeah.
But he'll just stay here because he's such a cool looking animal as well. Not because of the eye, the combo itself. He's a banana lesser, so it just pops the combo in terms of like the colour and everything like that. But they're the things that do happen. And I think last year a lot more people saw it because of the higher temperatures. You know, it was really, really high temps last year. And I think that
Yeah.
really, had an effect on spiking and incubation and stuff, which
Yeah.
I think caused a lot of people to have defects.
Obviously, Paul had some as well at
Yeah.
Urban.
Mm.
Obviously,
Yeah.
different sort of temperature, but Miguel had some as well.
Yeah. And for
Yeah.
me, it's lesser. Miguel's, I think, were a lesser combo. Mine were
Okay.
a lesser combo. I'm not sure what Paul's were. I think Paul's were Cypress Clowns, weren't they? Which was even obviously bigger kick in the nuts. Like, but it can happen. You know, what happens when we're breeding these animals? You know.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what sort of what line of Anzatic are you working
It's
with?
VPI.
VPI.
Yeah, that's the one everyone wants, really, isn't it? So, yeah, we could do one of the other lines and everything, but VPI is the one that everyone wants to work with. So, unless you've got someone who's specifically got the SK line or whatever, one of the others, then not
Yeah.
really what people are after.
Yeah. So, shows will we if Doncaster goes ahead this year, will you be in attendance?
Don't know. Really don't know. It's a tough one for me because I'm really on the fence about whether it's going to go ahead in the guys that we know. Personally, I think it might be a limited capacity event still because it's going to be so popular. So
Yeah.
obviously the week before it would have been 1,000 people maximum.
Yeah.
I think they've got to potentially look at capacities and the time frame it's on in terms of how long it's on for during the day. Is the scope to do it longer and maybe split it into 2 sessions? And I just don't know. I think for me, it's a tough one. We'll see how the next few weeks pan out. Love to go. I absolutely love going. It's great.
Yeah.
But I think everyone will go.
Yeah.
And I think half the people who go will be lucky to get in. I think the other half will be queuing up outside. Because I just think more people than can actually physically fit in the venue safely will want to go.
Yeah, I believe so because there hasn't been one for so long. I think everyone will pile on the first one.
Yeah.
I can see it. Yeah, it going like you said.
Yeah.
Am I right in saying if you wanted to vend, you wouldn't be allowed to because you have
Yeah, that's it. I can't. Yeah, I can't vend. Vend. I can vend dry goods if I wanted to,
Right.
and that's always been something I've thought of. But I enjoy going. I enjoy walking around, looking at animals. I wouldn't want to be tied to a table.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
What about yourself? Are you gonna have a go at vending, or you?
Not this year. Not this year. Maybe possibly next year. I'll look into it. At the moment, I'm not producing enough animals, I don't think, to warrant it. And like you say, I enjoy going.
Yeah.
So
I think that's it as well. When you have other avenues for surplus as well, sometimes there's no need to go and vend. Obviously, some people build their hobby around that, and that's cool. Going there and doing it to the day and stuff, and knowing actually that you'll make a substantial amount of money on that day, going 4 times a year, 3 times a year, whatever it is, will be enough, and that's cool for your hobby aspect of it because that might be the only time they have to say, right, I'm not going to spend hours on social media selling animals and replying to these messages. I'm just going to take my animals there. I'm going to showcase them there and sell what I sell.
Yeah. Another point why I wouldn't want to do it is because I DJ. So,
okay.
By the time I finished, and if I was doing a stall, I'd be on fumes by the time the doors opened. So, for me, Doncaster's 3.5 hours away.
Yeah.
So it'd take a lot for me to, if I had loads of animals, I could easily sell. It'd be worth it, and I'd make the effort to do it. But yeah,
you can always tell the people in the groups who've gone out the night before and partied hard and got in early. You can always see them behind the tables, always looking worse for wear. What's this? I don't know what it is. It's a Royal Python, I think.
Yeah, so
always looking worse for wear.
I think it was the last show that was actually on I went to, and like I said, I've been DJing the night before, so I probably got in at like 3 a.m, and I set off at like 7. I was so tired by the time I got there. I was in the queue. I was like, okay, queue's not crazy. I'm doing all right. I think I got there about 45 minutes before the doors opened.
Yeah.
Anyway, it went round the corner. The queue started moving, and then it went till it got round the corner. I could see the doors that I realised I was in the the members queue.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man. And then I looked across. I was like, okay, that other queue's not too bad. And then, but I didn't realise it went all behind the race course. I think by the time I got to the end, I was probably like 8 furlongs from the front door. Like,
well, there you go. Imagine that. So that was when?
That was the September 19 show. So maybe 1-2 before it was the end. Yeah.
So imagine that then in April the 27th.
Yeah.
It's going to be crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. It's going to be.
I think it'll be a good show and stuff, but it'll be interesting as well because I know at the start of the pandemic, a lot of people pulled breeding and were like, not going to breed. There's too much uncertainty. So it might be totally the other way, and there's nothing there in terms of what people have.
Okay.
I think people may have been busier as well in terms of what they sold. I really, people have had a bit more disposable income. They've had nothing to do at home. I think generally people have probably bought more than what they will have done.
Indulged a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think people have indulged. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So have you been to any of the international shows?
To be honest, not ham. I've been to a show in America. I'm quite fortunate. It wasn't a huge one like Tinley or anything like that. It was a San Jose reptile show. So our family live in California, in San Francisco.
Nice.
So whenever we go, not that I openly admit this, but I always try and see if we can book it around a reptile show.
Mm-hmm.
And try and sneak off if I can. So we need to try and book one and go. And I was quite fortunate. There was one in San Jose, which was about 45 minutes drive from the smaller scale to Doncaster, probably in between what it is now and what it was like in the Dome. So I don't know whether you ever went when it was in the Dome over the road.
No.
So it used to be in the leisure centre across the road, and it was on. It used to be in like the sports hall essentially.
Oh really? Damn.
Yeah,
Never knew that.
Yeah. That's how long ago I was going.
Wow.
It used to be in there, so it was the equivalent of maybe 4 tennis courts.
Yeah,
that was the Dome back then. So now, obviously, it's much bigger. But yeah, the one in San Jose was a little bit different. But the whole vibe of the show was different. People have animals out on their table. They want you to handle them, and I wouldn't say disorganized because there were some good vendors there. Brian Gundy was there. Had a bit of a fanboy moment with him and his perfectly manicured goatee. There's a few other. I think Rich McCall from Rich McCall Serpents, and a few other guys were there who were obviously all from like the Bay Area and around California, around that area. All super happy to chat to you, show you off animals, let you hold animals, all that type of stuff, which was great. But then in hindsight, you're probably like, oh, it's a bit, I'd be worried about my animals going home and that type of stuff, really,
Yeah. Brian Gundy, like, his voice is so soothing. Like he should read like the do you know the books you listen to?
Yeah,
I think he'd be
he's
amazing
literally
at that.
one of the coolest guys ever. I think I have a little bit of a crush on him. I think a bit of a man crush. He's just literally that perfectly white goatee and that voice, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I come across it. I think Adam from TA Exotics had him on one of his videos
Yeah,
once,
yeah,
and that's where I came across him. I was like, this dude is
yeah,
cool.
yeah. Oh, he's been doing YouTube for 10 years easy, Brian, when he used to do it he still does it in his, in the sides of his house and stuff like that. Does
Yeah.
all educational stuff now and, field taping and stuff. But yeah, cool guy.
Yeah.
Couldn't get my name right for it took him about four goes to get my name as Andy and not Zandy, but, I'll forgive him.
Yeah. You'll give him a pass.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, my name's Andy. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you said you had some males not quite ready at the
Yep.
minute, but possibly. What size are you comfortable putting a male in with a female?
So I'd like to see 750, 800 grams. I think we've got a couple at 6 that have done. So we've got a GHI lesser yellow belly pastel fire het clown male. He was 670 when we introduced him, and I think on a second female we witnessed a lock, and he's gone on to lock with her a couple of times, as well as 2 other females. Yeah. So he might not have enough in the tank to potentially, do decent clutch sizes for all 3 of those, but he's certainly done it. But I'd prefer 750, 800.
Yeah. How long have you been doing the lives on Instagram? Is it not long?
So
or
we've done 2 up to now.
2?
Yeah, so we've done Friday just gone and the Thursday before. We're going to try and make it a weekly thing. First couple of weeks, it's all about, obviously, people associate me with the shop as well. But we're trying to not disassociate it, but we're trying to have a clear sort of separation between the Python page and it being Royal Python dedicated, and then obviously the shop in terms of getting asked what our biggest snake is or what's the best pet lizard. And that's cool. We'll answer those questions, but we can't answer those questions every week. So we're trying to run where we have a theme now and say, okay, this is what we want to talk about, and try and do that. So we're hoping to do another one maybe this week. And then what we may do then is we may go to every other week.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And we may alternate that then with the actual shop doing one, because at the moment the shop's not done any. It's all been on the Python page.
Yeah.
So
for everyone who doesn't know, do you want to tell everyone where your shop is based and if people want to come down and check you out and stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's Clubmoor Reptiles. We're based in Liverpool, a little place called Clubmoor, not far from home of the Mighty Reds. So we're literally a stone's throw from Anfield. Little shop on a main road. Just come and check us out. Anyone wants to send us a message, we can give you the address, or it's there on Facebook for us to, for everyone to see and get directions. But yeah, we'd love to entertain people.
Wicked. Definitely. And how can people get hold of your t-shirts and whatnot?
So yeah, our lovely t-shirts. These can just send me a message. Obviously, you can buy them in the shop. They're available in the shop for anyone who lives locally. Anyone who wants them, they can just get in touch. £20, and we can send them off to you. I'll pay the delivery.
Wicked. That's a bargain. Absolute bargain.
Absolutely.
So I've got one more question for you.
Yeah.
Big scissors or little scissors?
So I use little scissors.
You use
couple of times I've tried to do the samurai blade, the old Stanley knife blade, and it looks as if I've just chewed it. I'm not. So little scissors. Little scissors, definitely.
Like the Gav cut, like the
round. So I actually have.
Yeah.
I think they're actually a dog grooming scissor. So they've got a blunt end to them. They're rounded end. Let me even try and show you them right now.
Everyone has their scissors on hand.
It's crazy. So these are in the shop as well. So little rounded edges like that. So it's not going to do anything. But we try not to insert too much in the egg. We obviously hold it, snip, and then try and take the top off. Pretty standard, really. But yeah, little scissors.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, I prefer little scissors as well.
Yeah,
to be honest,
I think big ones I probably cut my thumb off or something.
I haven't tried it with the big scissors. I might try one this season just to say I've tried it. But yeah, I feel so much more comfortable with little scissors.
Yeah, don't do the razor blade option, the Stanley blade. It just doesn't. Yeah, it looks like you've bit them open. It's not nice.
Just leave that to bar check. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you see him do it and you think, oh, how can it be? And literally the guy's opened like 1 million eggs or something ridiculous. So does it with his eyes closed.
I wince every time I see it.
I think he's going to chop her head off, don't we?
Was it Jesse at Freedom Breeder who tore some open with his teeth?
Stop it!
I'm sure it was. I'm sure I've seen a video. No. Or no, I think he might have just ripped them open with his hands. I'm sure I've seen that video somewhere.
Obviously, once you've made a cut, you can open it up if you want. But
yeah, if anyone knows in the comments, comment. I'm not going crazy. I'm sure I've seen that.
You probably have. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, yeah. So I've just thought of one other question I'm going to ask you. Who is there anyone in the hobby you look up to, or when you're first starting, and who would like the go-to YouTube channels?
So when I first started, Snake Bites TV was probably the main one. Yeah. That was Brian Gundy was another one. He, his melodic voice just sending me to sleep of a night when I'm watching YouTube. Who else was there? Just forum-based stuff then, questions, answers on that. Visiting Crystal Palace's website every 5 minutes to see what amazing new snakes they add in. But in terms of YouTube, because I've been into it for quite a while, YouTube wasn't a huge thing really at the start. It's certainly become that now. And one person who I did watch from the start and was great was Garrick DeMeyer from Royal Constrictor Designs. So obviously I think he was CrestedGecko.com when I was watching him. It was that long ago.
Wow.
And I remember him hatching out killer clowns for the first time. I remember watching that video and thinking, shit, these are amazing. And I think that's the only time his voice has actually sounded any different when he first hit those killer clowns.
Yeah.
Because other than that, it just doesn't sound any different.
Excellent. Excellent.
He could have literally just hit everything in one snake and you wouldn't know.
Right. I appreciate you coming on, spending some time.
I appreciate it. It's been good. Enjoyed it.
When lockdown's all done and dusted, I'm definitely going to make a trip up to the shop.
Right, you're more than welcome. Absolutely. Show the collection off. Yeah. Definitely.
I'll probably go and watch Everton. Probably. Leave the Reds.
You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. Cheers, mate. I appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it, mate. I'll catch you later. Cheers. Yeah. So there you go. Andy from Clubmoor Pythons. That was well happy with that. That was brilliant. Never talked to the guy until a couple of weeks ago when I asked him to come on. Seriously knowledgeable guy and really friendly guy. Well happy with this. So like I say, guys, if this is first time with us, please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, give us a thumbs up, give us a thumbs down. And yes, like I say, stickers. Anyone wants some stickers? Drop me a message, Facebook, Instagram, even in the comments below. Anyway, until next week, I already have the guest lined up for next week. I will be revealing that soon. So stay tuned to the Instagram and you'll find out who that is. Until next time, people, thanks for watching. I'll catch you later.